18 bandits killed, guns recovered in raid by security operatives in Wase local government area of Plateau State. The police has arrested eight over killing of university lecturer in Maiduguri. Fire raises Owode Offa market in Kwara, destroys property worth millions of naira. On the foreign scene, from prisoner to president in just 20 days, Senegal's Diomaye Faye takes oath of office as new president. Good evening once again and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin the bulletin in Plateau State as on Monday a joint operation conducted by the Department of State Services, the Nigerian Police and vigilante groups resulted in the deaths of at least 18 bandits in Zurak Company of Wase local government area of Plateau State. Additionally, several guns were recovered during the operation. Reports indicate that the bandits, along with their informants and some traditional rulers, perceived to have betrayed the community, were killed during the operation. This incident comes just 2 weeks after bandits attacked a market in the same area, resulting in the deaths of 7 people. Shapi Sambo, a youth leader in Wase, confirmed this development to newsmen, stating that the criminals were targeted in a combined operation involving the DSS, the police, and vigilantes in the area. The bandits were attacked while holding a meeting at their hideout. Abdullahi Usman, another youth in the area, corroborated the incident, mentioning that the bandits were targeted following their recent attack on a market in Wase. As a press time, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alabu Arfed, had yet to respond to inquiries regarding the incident. And staying in Jos, a group of enraged youths set ablaze the house of a farmer within the Angwa Rukuba Etobaba community in Jos area of Plateau State. And according to reports, it indicates that the youths also raided the farmer's poultry farm, looting his birds before setting the farm ablaze. A resident of the community confirmed the incident, stating that the youths and their actions were prompted by the alleged killing of a security guard said to be employed by the farmer. According to eyewitnesses in the area, the farmer's son, suspecting the security guard of theft, purportedly caught him in the act and commenced an assault on the security guard. Unfortunately, during the altercation, the security guard slumped and died. In response to the situation, personnel from the state's fire service were dispatched to contain the blaze and prevent it from spreading to neighboring areas. Additionally, the security operatives have been deployed to maintain order and prevent further escalation of the violence in the community. A little earlier, I spoke to Trust TV's Adu Musa in Jos, who gave us an update on the developments from the state.
According to the members of this community, that normalcy has been restored, only that there is still tension and fear in the people, because some will be thinking that probably those who have fled to the bush may one day cooperate and then return and then possibly to attack the community. But at the moment, according to the members of the community, everything has been restored. But that fear is still in many of the residents of the community because of the fear of the unknown. Some of them were telling me that it is possible that these people may regroup and then return to the community, while some were saying that there is every possibility that even if they will return, they will not come back now because of what has happened to them.
What about the radio silence from the police? Are they scheduled to make an announcement or public statement regarding this particular operation, especially given the scale of the individuals involved, especially looking at the number?
Yeah, well, up to this moment, the security agencies are yet to respond to my inquiry, because I tried all I could to get the action of the police, particularly the police. He is yet to respond to my call and SMS sent to him. But the resident of the community confirmed to me that both the police and the DSS operatives were part of the operation, because this is something that has been tracking down for over 2 weeks, and luckily enough for them, they were able to achieve what they wanted to achieve.
Clearly, a lot of intelligence work went into this one. But also, sticking to developments in that community, we understand that a traditional leader of the community was also one of those that was gunned down in that operation. Is there a confirmation about the identity of all the 18 individuals involved in this, or rather, that were identified as terrorists in this operation?
Yes, the regional committee told me that after the vigilantes, as well as other security operatives, were able to kill the bandits, they were able to also arrest some of them, whom later were interrogated and then identify some informants. That is according to the resident of the community. So they identify some informants who usually work for them, and it was after them the vigilantes now identify them and then kill them. And according to some of them, that the traditional rulers, that is 2 traditional rulers, got involved because there was an intelligence report which indicated that a certain amount of money was sent to them, that is seeking their permission by the bandits to come back to the community and live peacefully. This is just according to some of the youth in the area, that why these traditional rulers were killed was because they collected the money, which they felt that they had betrayed them, because they felt that if these people will now send money to them, seeking for their permission to return to the community and live peacefully, they shouldn't have agreed, not to talk of even collecting the money. So at the end of the day, whoever was found collecting or must have collected the money became also a victim. That was why the number of those that were killed became 18. So these 18 included the 2 traditional rulers and some of the informants that were found wanting in the whole team.
Adu Musa there speaking to me earlier, giving us an update on the recent developments in Wase of Plateau State. Now, in other security developments, 30 children abducted by bandits in Kase village of Batsari local government area of Katsina State have regained their freedom. The Police Public Relations Officer of Katsina State Police Command, ASP Abubakar Sadiq, confirmed this development to newsmen on Tuesday. He stated that the children's release came as a result of concerted efforts by the command in collaboration with relevant authorities. The bandits had abducted the children, mostly girls, on Monday while they were fetching firewood in the bush. To Zamfara now, where worshippers at a mosque in Gusau, the state capital, fled for their lives on Tuesday when bandits raided a nearby resident area. The attack occurred during the observation of the congregational prayer Tahajjud, which is a special prayer session by Muslims during the last 10 days of the holy month of Ramadan. Reports indicate that the bandits first broke into a businessman's house where they killed him and abducted his wife and a neighbor. The deceased, identified as Jafar Nagoma, was reportedly shot for refusing to go along with the bandits. He sustained a gunshot wound to the stomach and was rushed to King Fahad Hospital, where he later succumbed to his gun injuries. According to the witness, at another house in the area, the bandits attempted to kidnap a couple, but the husband pleaded to be taken while they spare his wife. According to the Commissioner of Police in Zamfara State, Shehu Muhammad Dalijang, confirmed the killing of the businessman and the abduction of 2 other individuals, but refuted claims that there was an attack on a mosque. Well, earlier we spoke to Daily Trust Regional Editor Yusho Adamu, who gave an update on this development.
Yeah, we have reported 2 days also ago that a terrorist leader was killed, but unfortunately on the wake-up of Tuesday, bandits invaded a community in Gusau, the state capital, abducting a businessman, killing a businessman, and abducted 2 others. Initially, people thought it was a mosque that was attacked because in these last 10 days of Ramadan, Muslims used to observe a congregational prayer called Tahajjud. But what actually happened in the mosque was not attacked, but the bandits went straight to the man's residence to abduct him. He resisted, and they shot him in the stomach and abducted his wife. He was left screaming for help. Later, one of the bandits was said to have returned to the house and hit him in the head with a stick, and he left him unconscious. After they left, they went to the next house, trying to also abduct couples. The husband pleaded with them that they should spare the wife because of her health or pregnant condition. And they agreed, they left her, and they went with him. It was while they were moving out of the community that members of the vigilante group tried to spoil the main operation. Then the bandits started shooting indiscriminately. And that's what makes the people to run away from abandon the prayer and run away. And what makes the people also believe that maybe the mosque was attacked. But in the actual sense, it was not attack on the mosque.
A lot seems to be happening in Zamfara, I mean, considering this insecurity. And of course, the army has pushed to say that they've been making efforts. But still, these things keep reoccurring. What do you think is happening in Zamfara State at the moment, pertaining security measures?
I think it's obvious, and we can understand the situation. By the time the military continue to launch operations or to raid the enclaves on the bandits, they would have flee the area or change their tactics to another area or to another place. If we can understand, the operation that recently took place was around Fapi axis. But the bandits now come back to the state capital, So this is to tell you that they are moving from one place to another. If the military continue to raid their enclaves, they will move to another area. That's what exactly happening.
So how are the residents, affected by this unending phenomenon coping?
It was a terrible experience because for the bandits to come to the state capital and launch attack or abduct some people, that is a terrible situation. The residents were shocked, and everybody is confused.
Yusho Adamu there, the editor, regional editor of Daily Trust, speaking earlier to Sumaya Abubakar on the latest development in Zamfara. We're going to stay in Zamfara State, where the state government has ordered the immediate restriction of movement along the state's borders with Katsina and Sokoto State from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. The State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Manir Haidara, disclosed this to newsmen in Gusau, the state capital, on Tuesday. Haidara explains that the directive was part of measures adopted by the state government to curb banditry in the state. The commissioner thereafter advised motorists and travelers to abide by the order, as according to him, the decision was for the safety of travelers. According to him, security agencies have been directed to monitor the two borders and ensure full compliance. He also added that other measures are being put in place and were not for public consumption, assuring that Zamfara state government would continue to take measures to curb the menace of banditry. To Borno State now, where the police has reported the arrest of 8 suspects linked to the murder of a lecturer from the Department of Physical Health Education at the University of Maiduguri. According to ASP Daso Kenneth, the spokesperson of the command, the suspects were apprehended following a report filed by the Chief Security Officer of the university. He assured members of the public, especially those within and outside the university community, to remain calm as the police are committed to bringing the culprits to justice. The university spokesperson, Danjuma Gambo, revealed that the deceased, Dr. Abdul Qadir, was in his office attending attending to some pending official work on Sunday when the assailants attacked and killed him. A lecturer from the faculty also added that the deceased had taken advantage of the Easter holiday to tidy up some work that needed to be done when the attackers ambushed and killed him. The assailants, armed with a knife and axe, inflicted fatal injuries on the deceased and fled the scene with his car and other valuables. This tragic incident has shocked the university community, and the arrests made by the police provide hope for justice to be served. Now, mixed reactions persist regarding the ongoing increase in the price of locally made rice in Nigeria, affecting farmers, marketers and processing mills, especially in the wake of the recent removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. This situation has exacerbated food shortages for many Nigerian households, with family members facing daily challenges to access adequate nutrition. Trust TV's Adamu Imam give us a situation report from Bauchi State.
Rice is a staple food for many families, but the price of the commodity, especially imported rice, has skyrocketed in the markets, making it unaffordable for the average persons in recent times. As a result, people have shifted to locally processed rice, but even more has not provided enough relief in terms of pricing.
This cost of production of the materials that are used to use in palm, let's say for example, fertilizer. Now fertilizer is almost 50,000 per bag. Because of that, almost everything would become high because of that issue. Rise of fertilizer.
We have pressing family needs that we must address, so we have to sell the rice. As a result of this, farmers do sell at lower prices and later buy the same at the rate of 50,000 naira within 3 months. So we appeal for government intervention on the issue of price control, because if nothing is done, we will continue to witness arbitrary increase in food prices. Abdullahi Lawal at Muda Lawal Market highlights the complexity behind the price hike of locally produced rice, citing multiple factors at play. He emphasized the consumers' plea for government intervention to alleviate the current food crisis and ensure access to affordable rice for families. Honestly, I'm a farmer and at the same time a marketer. No one can wake up overnight and hike the price of local rice without the price of fuel and that herbicides and fertilizer not being on the increase. These are the major issues that cause an increase in the cost of producing rice. I struggle to come up with what to eat on a daily basis due to rising costs, yet the problems keep on persisting. There's nothing we can do than to hope and pray that government addresses these excessive price hikes. We heard that borders have reopened and so rice will be plenty in the country, but no sign yet. Many have emphasized the need for a change in strategy regarding food production by both the federal and state governments, looking at the imminent threat of food insecurity in the country. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the House of Assembly has approved the appointment of Mustafa Kwankwaso and 3 others as members of the State Executive Council. At the screening exercise conducted at the floor of the State House of Assembly, the lawmakers were all in agreement that the 4 nominees have met the basic criteria to join the State Executive Council, while giving the approval for the governor to go ahead with the confirmation of the process. Trust TV's Idris Jibrin has more.
One after the other, these nominees were invited to the floor of the House of Assembly to be screened.
Sunana Mustapha Rabiu Musa.
Popular among them is the son of the former Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, Mustapha Rabiu Kwankwaso, and a former Commissioner Adamu Aliyu.
What are you going to do to attract foreign investments into the power sector and the soil minerals?
Speaking shortly after the screening, a member representing Dogwa local government, Salisu Ibrahim, says the Assembly has confirmed all the 4 nominees, having been satisfied with the content of their curriculum vitae and the very many contributions they gave toward the progress and development of Kano State.
Solid minerals and power, just like what I said on the flow, are sectors that definitely, wherever they exist, people expect involvement of foreign investors. And he's what do I call it, the CBO of the nominee, definitely teaches towards being appointed to head one of the ministries.
4 of the nominees are expected to pursue the policies and program of the NNPP-led Kano State government, as well as come up with reforms that will be geared toward the progress of people of Kano State, among others. Meanwhile, the nominees, after briefing the House on their pedigree, also promised to use their new given opportunity for the overall development of Kano State.
I have been in Can Invest. I started off as an advisor to the governor on investment and public-private partnerships, and I transitioned into the Director General of Can Invest. And since then, we have days after days implemented policies that will ensure that Kano State stands tall in terms of ease of doing business.
Kano State Governor Abba Kabir has formally communicated to the House the establishment of 4 new ministries, which include humanitarian, power, solid mineral, and internal security. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And in Plateau State, the Joint Transporters, Marketers and Traders Association has declared a one-day warning strike in response to the recent implementation of Executive Order 3, which prohibits trucks and other heavy-duty equipment from entering Bukuru-Jos metropolis. The Jos Metropolitan Development Board announced the Executive Order 3 back in March this year. The order includes provisions preventing trucks from entering business areas between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. The board also explains that the purpose of the order is to streamline vehicular traffic through traffic management measures. Ado Musa has more on the story.
The association said the decision to embark on the strike followed the government's refusal to listen to their demands, which include providing a bypass as an alternative road for trucks, building a trailer park, and adjusting the timing of movement from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. The association also alleged that the state government had refused to release the 25 trucks belonging to their members, which were impounded by JMDB officials.
While more than 25 trucks had been impounded by Mr. Hard Bankat, the general manager of JMDB, on behalf of Plateau State government on the promise of violation of the said executive order on the first day of its implementation. Some of the trucks impounded were not moving on the road, but were offloading at various stores and shops, and were towed to the VIO office at Angulujos, and the government had refused to release the said trucks to its owners until the sum of 500,000 naira is paid as fine on each truck.
The chairman emphasized their mandate for peace and economic stability, which gives them the right to free movement on the federal roads.
In the past, the state has suffered so many crises which have drastically affected the economic development of the state, as well as peaceful coexistence. As at now, the places where are parking our trucks and goods are not safe due to the volatile nature of the areas, and the places are flashpoints of security breaches.
Clement Ekawete, the chairman, Jos Metropolitan Traders Association, speaks on the challenges facing their business.
Very dangerous and also security threat to the owners of those goods to be offloading in the night. Most of them offload up to 3 hours. Imagine somebody offloading at that point in time. After offloading, then you are going back to your house. It's a threat. It's a security threat to the owner of the goods and those who are offloading. So it's part of the thing that is affecting our businesses. So it's no longer helpful to us for us to wait in the night to offload our goods. So
they are urging the state government to reconsider the new order and make adjustments by involving all stakeholders to arrive at a logical conclusion. Ado Musa, Trust TV News.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Nigeria's displacement challenge hitting millions hard as destitution festers across major cities. We have details of this and many more stories up ahead after the break. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. 18 bandits killed, guns recovered in raid by security operatives in Wase local government area of Plateau State. The police has arrested 8 over the killing of a university lecturer in Maiduguri. Now, operatives of the Adamawa State Police Command have arrested a suspected kidnapper identified as Roland Raymond. The command disclosed this via its social media handle on X. According to the command, Raymond, a resident of Deti village in Ganye local government area, was nabbed while attempting to collect ransom. The Adamawa police also says the 32-year-old suspect was apprehended with the collaborative efforts of hunters in the area. This is the second time in the space of 2 months that security agents would arrest kidnappers at the point of collecting ransom. In February, troops from the 93 Battalion under the 6th Brigade of the Nigerian Army nabbed a suspected notorious female kidnapper, Janet Igohia, in Taraba State in the same manner. The troops say Igohia was arrested while trying to pick up a ransom paid by relatives for an abducted victim in Taraba State. Now, according to data from the International Organization for Migration, Nigeria has over 2.3 million internally displaced persons as of 2023. The majority of these IDPs, particularly women and children, were compelled to leave their homes primarily due to insecurity or other socio-economic crises across the country. Against this backdrop, Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail takes a look into the challenges faced by internally displaced persons residing outside the government-funded camps in Nigeria's capital, Abuja.
Homeless and jobless. This is a group of refugees roaming the streets of Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The women and children largely depending on daily alms for survival. Among them are beggars from neighboring Niger Republic, while others like 71-year-old Suleiman Usman were compelled to flee their homes in Katsina State due to persistent bandit attacks in their community of Duzema. Unable to access a government-run IDP camp, Suleiman now resides in a makeshift shelter in the Lugbe area of Abuja. He laments not knowing the whereabouts of his 7 children who were chased away by terrorists, recalling the harrowing experience. We were at home one afternoon. Then bandits attacked our village, riding motorbikes. They killed our relatives and children. Now I don't know where some of my children are. We fled to this place. We don't have food and shelter. We left our farms there, but we are now in difficult conditions. We are Nigerians. While it is clear that some internally displaced persons like Suleiman were forced to flee by terrorists, there are also other IDPs wandering the streets of Abuja who have resorted to begging as a means of survival.
We are orphans, therefore we need help. We hope to return to our homes because we don't enjoy roaming the streets either. It's just necessary. We don't have husbands to cater for us.
Amidst concerns about security breaches, Abuja residents feel insecure due to the unregulated movement of these IDPs within their communities. A boy who is supposed to be in primary or nursery school is left roaming the streets to collect alms with these women. It is unfortunate that sometimes they get hit by vehicles. "71-year-old Suleiman, still searching for his missing children, urges the government to address the issue of kidnapping and banditry in Katsina and other regions of the country so that he can safely return home. For now, the uncertainty over the future of Nigeria's displaced persons linger. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, a section of the Owode market Offa in Kwara State has been razed by fire with food items worth millions of naira destroyed in the inferno. The fire, which affected 46 stalls, in the third fire incident in the market in the last 6 years, even as the local government authority says efforts to build and modernize the markets are being hampered by certain developments. Here's a report.
This is Owode Market, the largest in Offa local government area of Kwara State. Market fire is not new here, as 3 fire incidents have occurred in the last 6 years. On Tuesday morning, another fire incident occurred, affecting 46 stalls which are selling mainly foodstuff, fairly used clothes and charcoal.
What happened is that since 12 o'clock yesterday, there is fire yet. We don't know what caused the fire. Just saw the fire, all the shops have burned, the millions of naira have lost from this place.
With several millions lost to the incident, the stall owner appeals to the relevant authorities to come to their aid.
When I came in the morning time, I just see fire brigade and everybody here trying to rescue us here. Well, I cannot exactly tell what happened, but this is how we discovered it.
The Olofa of Offa and the chairman of Offa local government area paid an emergency visit to commiserate with those affected. The chairman of the council appealed to those against the expansion of the market to sheath their sword for the modernization of the market, while the monarch appealed to the state governor to come to their aid.
You have said it. It's quite unfortunate, but we may consider it as a natural thing. Just like we refer to cases of accidents, when things you don't plan for happens, we consider it as an act of God, and we feel very painful.
Well, it has happened. Only God knows the cause, because it's combined of people selling charcoal, rice and other commodities. So we cannot really say this is the reason, but God knows what we don't know. What we only do is how to give them succor so that we reduce their problem.
The senator representing Kwara South promised to facilitate a road project to ease movement in and around the market.
It's a thing that should not happen in the month of Ramadan. But as Muslims, we always thank God. The inferno was so much, it consumed a lot of wealth.
Victims of the incident say they are not against the modernization of the market, but need urgent assistance to ease their sufferings, as most of them borrowed to stock their shops.
Elsewhere, traders in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital, have been speaking on the state government's drive to clear the streets of street traders, as well as the impact of such policy on many who may not be able to rent out spaces for their business operations. While some have welcomed the government's initiative to formally provide them with spaces to ply their trade, many are asking that such market stalls be made available to all concerned in light of the government's directive to enable them cope with the prevailing economic situation in the country. Trust TV's correspondent captured the experiences as well as the thoughts of some of the traders affected by this new policy.
Along major streets across the state, traders dot the entire landscape selling goods of different kinds. As they do this, they are not oblivious of the fact that they risk harassment by law enforcement officers and in worst cases, outright arrest. Despite this knowledge, they still go ahead to display their wares, as according to them, selling on the streets record more sales than selling in rented shops.
I've been telling them, and the reason why they build market, they don't want any roadside trader again. You know, he told them, when you know that you're supposed to put them in one place, he makes sure he build a market for them. So there's no way they can now go back to the roadside for their safety. And secondly, if anybody try it, anything can happen to him. And we market leader will not support the.
With the government's recent construction of markets across the state for traders, the traders are joyful that they will be free from scorching sun, harassment from security operatives, and other challenges that come with street trading.
We are very, very happy for the shop. It's a part of development because those of my people with the main road, at least for now, they have rest of mind. Sun will not beat them again. Rain will not beat them again. No more running for local government. At least now, when they enter inside shop now, I'm happy.
Give glory to Almighty Allah that give our governor to promise and fulfill it. Secondly, we appreciate our governor.
Meanwhile, the Babaloja General of Oyo State Markets, Yekini Abbas, who appreciated the government, warned his colleagues against mismanagement of markets across the states.
Even before the construction of this edifice, we had already gathered the names of those traders that are on the road around this axis. So when this place is constructed now, we even thought probably it's going to give them maybe at a rebate. But the governor, in his magnanimity again, decided that all those shops will be given to them free of charge.
Meanwhile, those yet to benefit are calling on Wembley Nigerians, particularly the government of the state, to, as a matter of urgency, extend this gesture to them to avoid their massive return to the streets.
Now, the House of Representatives has lamented the non-adherence and implementation to the Disability Act by key stakeholders in the country. The Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Disability, Bashiru Daudu, stated this while reacting to the alleged discriminatory treatment meted out to one Adebola Daniel by KFC outlet at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. According to the House Committee Chair, the incident is a wake-up call for the full implementation of the Disability Act signed into law back in 2019 by the Buhari administration. Daniel, a wheelchair user, was allegedly refused entry to the KFC outlet when the manager told him no wheelchairs are allowed on the premises. Now, this treatment, according to him, is unacceptable and goes against the principles of inclusivity and respect. While commending the Speaker of the House of Representatives for establishing the Committee on Disability, the lawmaker also commended the speed at which the government intervened in resolving the dispute between the alleged victim and the outlet, while assuring that the committee will work through its oversight functions with all relevant agencies to ensure that the Disability Act is fully implemented in the country.
They said finance closed the KFC. So even if you want to do a surprise oversight, which is allowed, you can't go inside there. And we also found out that the DG actually was also not around because it's a holiday period. So yes is the answer. There will be investigation, but the investigation will follow house rules. On investigation, this is what we have done on the investigation. We've gone to the floor to move the motions for the whole house to give us the authority to investigate compliance.
Now, the federal government is set to experience the tangible effects of its policies on the education sector. During a ministerial presentation highlighting the achievements and deliverables, the Minister of Education reassured Nigerians of the implementation of comprehensive and practical policies within the education sector. Habibat Ajayi brings us more on this story.
Stakeholders engagement section was convened to update the public on the ministry initiatives to improve transparency and accountability in Nigeria's education sector. The ministry roadmap consists of 8 key areas and 13 pillars designed to achieve 23 ministerial objectives. During the stakeholders gathering, the minister underscored the critical need to establish a trustworthy database within the sector, promote skills development and decrease the number of out-of-school children.
What we have been doing over the time, further explain to them what mandate was given to us and where we are, and also get their input, because we say it's government of this. It's just like akin to having a town hall meeting so that you can hear the feedback. What we have developed so far may not capture everything, through these interactive sessions, we may be able to amend.
The policies are still there. They're all part of what we are implementing, including the out of school we just talked about, curriculum development and all this. So these are fantastic policies which are there already. So we are not dropping any policy. We are simply giving teeth. We are walking the talk this time around.
To this end, several stakeholders expressed satisfaction with the ministry engagement and called for increased public-private partnerships in the education sector.
Through the Gap 3 intervention, we know and we are confident, and to use the Honorable Minister's word of assurance, as referred to by Dr. Ojam, I can assure you that we know and we are confident. No, assurance is key. We are confident that we have the tool to address learning.
The minister has really done wonderfully today, coming out to tell the stakeholders, the teachers, the vice chancellors, all the arms, that make up the education sector, telling us his aims, his objectives, how far he has gone with the plans he has already rolled out, how far he has gone with them, and things he's yet to do.
The government's objective to the overhaul the education sector, ensuring access to quality education for all, equipping the workforce with entrepreneurship skills, and ultimately breaking the cycle of poverty. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Nigerian swimming coach Andriod Dare, who swam the entire 11.8 kilometers of the third mainland bridge in Lagos on Saturday, March 30th, has described his swimming expedition as a campaign against suicidal attempt. Let's hear his thoughts on this particular adventure.
In a bid to raise awareness about mental health issues, particularly suicide and depression, a Nigerian swimming coach, Andriod Dare, engaged in a 11.8-kilometer swimming expedition. Dare fondly called Coach Dare stoned many as he plunged into the water from the beginning of the lagoon in Oworoshoki and ended at the Adeniji Adele bus stop, spanning 2 hours and 33 minutes, eliciting public admiration.
Who actually think of being suicidal is a good percentage of it, after we've gathered data so far, actually happens at the third mainland bridge, where they just come down in and just jump inside the water, and then that's all. But one of the things I want us to point out is for the community, we all need to be able to listen very well, because these people who actually commit suicide one way or the other, they tend to have their way of communicating. So the public needs to listen very well and make sure that they're able to do something around it. And then, if it's for those who are actually thinking about it too, we're asking you to break the silence, just come outside and voice out.
Depression is part of mental illness. Suicide, contemplating suicide, is part of mental illness. So the fact that mental illness is an occurrence all over the place, due to whatsoever reason, we are preaching against it.
To support him and to encourage him and to send a strong message out to all other youths that impossible is nothing. Put your mind to it, let us know what you're doing, and as a government, we will always try and see how we can support you.
The swimmer stressed the need to break the silence of people thinking of committing suicide.
Quite an unusual but a commendable way to draw attention to a social ill that is plaguing the society, especially in Lagos. Now, let's bring you up to date with the latest in business. Here's Yusuf Akogo with the latest.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogo. Despite the persistent epileptic power supply, revenue generation by electricity distribution companies in Nigeria surged to 1.1 trillion naira within the 12 months of 2023. According to National Bureau of Statistics, the figure represents an increase of 234.4 billion naira, or 28.2% from the 831 billion naira generated by the power firms over a similar period in 2022. The latest data came despite the constant power grid collapses recorded during the year. According to the report, Nigerians endure more nationwide blackouts in 2023, especially on September 4, when the grid collapsed due to a fire on a major transmission line. Despite the challenges, the distribution companies have continued to smile to the banks, allocating outrageous billing to customers. The federal government has announced a new price of natural gas for power generation companies in the country. The Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority unveiled a new domestic base price and wholesale price of natural gas for 2024, raising to $2.42 per metric million British thermal unit from the previous rate of $2.18. The Chief Executive, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, in a statement also pegged the cost of commercial gas at $2.92, up from a previous cost of $2.05. Ahmed said the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 provides a clear regulatory framework for the determination of a market-based pricing regime for the domestic gas market. Now, local investors in the Nigeria Exchange Limited (NGX) accounted for 88.22% of equities worth 1.09 trillion naira traded in the first 2 months of 2024, according to data on domestic and foreign portfolio participation in the Nigeria's equities trading. Foreigners traded equities worth 118.92 billion naira or 11.78% in the review period, while domestic investors traded stocks worth 890.48 billion naira. Foreign inflows into the equities market worth 40.71 billion naira, while foreign outflow from equities market was 78.21 billion naira. Domestic retail investors accounted for stock trading worth 447.52 billion naira, while domestic institutional investors accounted for 442.96 billion naira. Retail investors also outperformed institutional investors by 10%. The stock market resumed from the Easter holidays in a negative mood as investors take profit across trading counters. Let's look at some of the equities that's dragged down the market today. Leading the losing equities there is USCN, United Africa Company of Nigeria, down 9.82% to close at 12 naira and 40 kobo per share. Livestock feed down 9.50%, 1 naira and 62 kobo the share price. Ended Julius Berger Nigerian PLC 9.1% in the negative territory, 59 naira and 95 kobo the share price did ended as well. Of course, this has dragged down the market down marginally though, 0.05%. If you look at the volume of trade, 528.647 million shares, it did value at 14.300 billion naira in a days of 12,747 did exchange hands among investors today. Okay, looking at some of the top trading equities there, we have a Jitco Guaranty Trust Bank Holding Company trading 84.337 million shares, Access Corporation 67.632 million shares, and of course Zenith Bank 62.335 million shares it did traded on the day as well. We have some equities that recorded gains at the close of the market today. Leading that table is May and Baker there, that gained 10% to close at 6 naira and 5 kobo per share. Ikeja Hotel 7 naira and 7 kobo the share price ended, it gained 9.95% at the close of business. Sham PLC 9.90% down, 2 naira and 11 kobo the share price is ended for today. So the highlight of the stock trading as it went down this Tuesday on the floor of the NGX Limited. Let's see the global stock market for today. FX market, naira gains a whopping 21.8% against dollar in the month of March, marking a major turnaround for Nigeria's exchange rate policy. Let's see today's market data. Oil prices pushed higher on Tuesday as the Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee of OPEC Plus is unlikely to propose any changes to oil production policy when it meets on Wednesday. At the London market, European Brent sells for $88 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, dealers offer $87 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogo.
And on the international scene, Senegal inaugurated Bassirou Diomaye Faye as its new president on Tuesday, completing the previously little-known opposition figure's dramatic ascent from prison to the palace of the president in just weeks. Faye was released from prison less than 2 weeks ago, before the March 24th election, along with popular opposition figure and mentor Ousmane Sonko, following a political amnesty announced by the outgoing president, or former president now, Macky Sall. Now, Faye, who is 44, campaigned on promises to clean up corruption and better manage the country's natural resources. His victory was seen as reflecting the will of the young people frustrated with widespread unemployment and former colonial ruler France, seen by critics to be using its relationship with Senegal to enrich itself. Such frustrations are common across many countries in Africa, home to the world's youngest population, where a number of leaders have clung to power for decades. In his first speech as president-elect, Faye promised to fight corruption and reform the economy. Ahead of the election, he released a declaration of his assets to show transparency and called on other candidates to do same. It listed a home in Dakar and land outside the capital in his hometown. His bank accounts totaled roughly $6,600. Elsewhere, at least 7 foreign aid workers and their Palestinian driver were killed in an Israeli airstrike on Monday, hours after the charity World Central Kitchen brought in a shipload of food via a maritime route. The US-based charity said those killed were from Australia, Poland, the United Kingdom, a dual citizen of the United States and Canada, and a Palestinian. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday lamented their killing, describing the incident as, quote, tragic and unintentional. Food aid organization World Central Kitchen says Tuesday an Israeli airstrike killed 7 of its workers in the Gaza Strip as they delivered food aid that had arrived by sea earlier in the day. Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said an independent professional expert body will investigate the aid workers' deaths and express condolences to the World Kitchen, founder, Chef Jose Andes, as well as other stakeholders. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry and eyewitnesses say Israel's assault on the Al-Shifa hospital left destruction of a massive scale. Let's turn our attention now to developments in sports, and here's Adeni Ajishafe with today's roundup.
South Africa's women national team goalkeeper Kelly Swears is bullish ahead of Bayana's highly anticipated Paris 2024 Olympic women football qualifier against Super Falcons of Nigeria. The showstopper said playing against Nigeria is always a tough battle, though she believes in her teammates playing for each other to get the job done against Nigeria. Meanwhile, Morocco will face Tunisia on Wednesday at home following their 2-1 away victory in the first leg, while Ghana will be hoping to reverse the 1-0 loss to Zambia when the two sides clash on same day. Only 5 African countries have taken part in the women's Olympic football tournament since inception at Atlanta in 1996. Namely Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, Zimbabwe and Zambia. Nigeria battled South Africa Bayana in the first leg on Friday at MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja. And still on football, Ajax chief executive Alex Kroos has been suspended by the Dutch club's supervisory board over allegations of insider trading. In a statement, the club board alleges Kroos bought more than 17,000 shares in the club. A week before his appointment, Kroos did not accept the board's decision to suspend him and will seek a judgment on his acquisitions. Kroos said he purchased shares out of confidence in the club and not to make quick money, and had proved full disclosure to the supervisory board about his asset. Board chairman Michael Van Praag in his statement said it is highly detrimental to the club, pointing out the timing of his share purchase indicates insider trading. The former Ajax youth player succeeded Edwin van der Sar, who resigned at the end of last season after the team finished third in the Dutch league and failed to qualify for the Champions League for the first time since 2009. Ajax are currently in 5th place in the Eredivisie, 28 points behind leaders PSV Eindhoven. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And that is the size of our news package for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We encourage you as always to follow us across our social media platforms to keep up with our news content as well as documentaries. We are available across YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and other social media handles. Also visit our website trusttv.com. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time and good night.